This isn't the kind of game you'd expect from Chillingo. They've become one of the world's most successful mobile game publishers, and that's a status they've built in large part because of games like Angry Birds, and Cut the Rope, and Feed Me Oil, casual games that appeal to a mainstream audience. This game is the exact opposite of that. This is a game with guns, blood, and zombie vomit. Three things which preclude any possible appeal to a mainstream audience. I think it's the zombie vomit. This is D.A.R.K for the iPhone. D.A.R.K is a top-down shooter that, given the platform, is completely controlled with touch. There's a virtual circle pad on the bottom left side of the screen that moves your character, and there's another on the right that fires your weapon. You play the game by sliding your thumb over those virtual pretend circles just as you would an analog stick. I guess I'm the only person who sees a problem with that. As good as D.A.R.K could be, it's held back by the limitations of its platform. Now, I'm a huge proponent of iOS gaming for several reasons, much of which has to do with how the touch interface can change and, frankly, improve gaming. But there are also some serious hindrances to iOS gaming, and ironically, they stem from the very hardware feature that makes them so good. To play a game like this, you have to have an analog stick. Or a D-pad, or a circle pad, or whatever. Dragging your thumbs and fingers over circle pads that don't actually exist poses a plethora of problems. For starters, you can't feel the boundaries of the touch zone, which means you'll often stop moving or stop shooting just because you've lost touch with where you're supposed to. There has to be some kind of tangible feedback, some physical sensation for that to work, and the touchscreen just doesn't have it. So, as it applies to this game, that overarching philosophical iPhone problem manifests itself in some pretty predictable ways. Aiming is way harder than it is in any game that just uses an analog stick, and that creates a lot of frustrating encounters with enemies. And what's worse, it even makes walking a pain in the ass. And it's a bummer too, because although it's far from an original game, D.A.R.K has the core of a decent game in there somewhere as well. You play as a guy in a spacesuit who has to explore this dark spaceship and shoot lots of aliens and zombies with lots of guns. Just a shame you can't actually aim them with any effectiveness whatsoever. So yeah, it's incredibly unoriginal. I mean, think games like Alien Breed and even Alien Syndrome for just a few of what must be countless examples, but on a platform that's so ideal for casual games and even a few so-called hardcore genres, it's a shame that a game like this just doesn't work. And yes, I do mean that in those broad, all-encompassing terms. That is to say, I don't blame D.A.R.K for the fact that D.A.R.K doesn't play well. I've never played any game with these controls that worked for me. D.A.R.K is an unoriginal game with unoriginal concepts, but its biggest problem is one that, apart from magically causing analog sticks to spout from glass, it's ultimately helpless to solve. Now, if you can control games with imaginary circle pads, D.A.R.K might be a game for you. But in that case, I'd also ask you how to pull rabbits out of hats.